This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. 2023 saw us experience a bunch of different releases and many that I personally enjoyed, but one title that really does stand above many others in that way is that it manages to just absolutely win in what it's trying to do. Robocop Rogue City is a title that if you were not familiar with the developer's prior game, Terminator Resistance, you may be a bit cautious going into this one. Yet for all of us that were fans of Resistance, knew that this was probably going to be something special. And man, does it feel great when a developer can very much deliver this to the players and fans of the films. Even early on, we saw confidence that this team had faith in their own project completely. They provided a pretty extensive demo for PC, and this allowed them to take some feedback and improve in some presentation and performance areas. But this one demo I think allowed for the game to speak for itself very well. As a player, we could just jump in and we weren't just getting a slice of the game, but rather a piece of it, with it being the first 3 stages itself. And this confidence translated well to the quality of the demo, and then this turned into good word of mouth to begin with to help spreading the news and building up the hype. It wasn't a situation of overhype, but rather one where the expectations were being reasonably set. Then we could see in terms of honoring this legacy IP, these developers were going to succeed. It is something wonderful when you dive into a game, especially one that pretty much nails what it's trying to do, or just accomplishes in delivering on those expectations. And sometimes it can feel extra special when it turns out to be a title that needs a bit more, or even a lot more attention than it's getting. Because while playing great games and even enjoying some of the underdogs is awesome, at the end of the day, the game needs to sell. We have seen several examples of this where we have a stellar title, but a future sequel is cancelled, or worse, the studio is canned. But then there are those instances where the underdogs succeed, and sometimes you need to read between the lines on if a game sold well. You will usually see a press release from the publisher celebrating those sales. If you don't see any of those, then you can bet the sales may have been a bit underperforming. So for Robocop Rogue City, we saw the publisher Nacon come out shortly after the release of the game and announce that Rogue City was the best launch they have ever seen. While numbers were not given, but based on the decent to good critic scores, the very high player reviews, and then this bit about the launch, you can infer that sales were probably better than expected for this title. This is excellent news. It shows that players still long for legacy IP that can be treated well, and that AA studios can make a rather large impact on the gaming scene, arguably even providing some of the most fun. Teon is a studio that has quickly become one of my favorites. But let's just talk about how much fun this was to play as a game. The opening level is stellar. The cutscenes and build-up are all used well to prop up and honor Murphy. Then we gain control of him, and it's absolutely awesome. Movement is a bit stiff, and that's okay. It feels purposeful in an effort to how Robocop moves within the films. This never hurts the gameplay, but rather furthers the immersion. The gunplay is just delightful. All the over-the-top violence and especially nut shots are there. The Auto 9 is powerful and ranks as one of the best guns for a video game. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't pick up another gun because this is the one that you really only need. Plus you can toy around with some upgrades to make it more your own. Personally, I never got tired of picking up thugs and tossing them around like a god. Story-wise, I love how the writers managed to nail the satire and humor from the films as well. There are some genuinely funny moments. You are playing the film, and the ultimate piece of this is how Peter Weller came back to voice his character. You don't have a sound-alike, you have the real deal. And we have a title that us Robocop fans can always go back to, and having Weller be there just makes it all within and awesome as part of the films. Seeing legacy IP coming back is something that is very common today. We see so many things trying to come back and then cash in on that nostalgia, either from new TV shows, films, and even games. The sad part about all of it is that they very rarely come back in the form of something that we actually want. In many cases, they feel like zombie-like versions of what we love. It might look like what we know, but it's too distorted to really be the same. In so many cases, writers try to take what we love and then deconstruct it, rather than celebrate what made it awesome. I'd be fine if many of these legacy items wanted to come back and give us one last hurrah, or maybe a respectful closeout to the stories of the past, while also showing a bright spot for the future. This is why when entertainers manage to deliver, on those instances it feels extra special. Sadly, the likes of Star Wars and even Indiana Jones have been tarnished now, with how the new stewards of those series have treated them. But then even recently, movies like Top Gun Maverick delivered a high-quality summer blockbuster, and a sequel that we would love to see for honestly anything. Season 3 of Picard not only ignored the prior two awful seasons, but provided a delightful bookend to the next generation with one last adventure, with the entire cast back. In the gaming medium, Teon really made their mark by showing the right way to make a Terminator sequel. The film Terminator Dark Fate is an awful movie that disrespects the series. I even like many of the sequels that come after too, but Dark Fate was just full of bad ideas and execution. Oddly enough, Terminator Resistance delivered, and absolutely killed it when it came to honoring its legacy, source material, and fans. It's easily one of my favorite first-person shooters, and they managed to do it again with Robocop, capturing many different nuanced elements about the character that makes Murphy so great, the side stories offering memorable one-off quests, and narratives that help to bring a lot of personality to the world. The detective elements was one of my favorite parts, and of course the shooting was just great. From the options you had, violence, and delightful and yet charming jank that would pop up, Robocop looked, felt, and even controlled authentic to the films. This was a title that was about honoring the legacy, rather than just a set of writers trying to use a known IP to use as a vehicle to be about their preachy and personal ideals that seem like backwards beliefs. This was a game, not a pretentious piece of entertainment, and most of all, it was fun. Like Terminator Resistance before it, Robocop Rogue City stands tall as a prime example on how to do it right. With two beloved hits under their belt, Teon has carved out that nice little niche for them, and it's something that I hope they play within this field more. If you haven't played Robocop, you should, and if you have, maybe you should play it again. What are some of your favorite pieces of entertainment that managed to honor their legacy? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.